So I'm sure by now all of you guys have heard the rumors about Pavel Datsyuk and him potentially returning to the Detroit Red Wings next season. And obviously this is something I'm pretty passionate about. He was one of my favorite all-time players growing up watching him, obviously me being a Detroit fan. So in this video, I kind of wanted to give you guys my thoughts on if he should return to the NHL and kind of what could happen with him if he does make a return for 1 year to the Detroit Red Wings. And I say 1 year because I don't think he would be signed to a contract any longer than 1 season. He's 40 years old. I don't think we're going to see him get any longer than 1 year because I think for him it's just maybe coming back for 1 year to really close out his professional hockey career instead of finishing it over there in the KHL. And this is definitely something I could see happening, and I'm not opposed to it whatsoever. I don't really think the money on the contract matters if it is just 1 year. It's not like the Kovalchuk contract where you're like kind of tying yourself down for a couple years with the guy who we don't really know if he can still play in the NHL or how good he'll be, and doing it for a couple years for a lot of money. But like I said earlier, he is 40 years old. He was one of the best two-way centers in the entire NHL throughout the majority of his career. He played in 953 NHL games, 314 goals, 604 assists for 918 points. I think it'd be pretty cool for him to come back for 1 year and maybe hit 1,000 games played. I think that'd definitely be pretty cool and a nice accomplishment for Pavel Datsyuk. He played in 54 games in the KHL this year. Obviously the KHL is a pretty good league. 12 goals, 30 assists for 42 points, so still putting up some decent numbers while still playing against some pretty solid competition. So Pavel Datsyuk potentially returning. Obviously, me being a Red Wings fan, I'm kind of open to it, and I don't really think it would take too much away. Obviously, there is some pros and cons with this. He is 40 years old. We don't know if he would be able to still compete at an NHL level, and potentially would take away a roster spot and, a spot in the lineup from one of the young guys because this is a rebuilding team. But then also, it would be good for some of the young players on the Detroit lineup to learn from a guy like Pavel Datsyuk. Like if a Joe Veleno does come in and, make the team next year, it would be great for him to learn from one of the best two-way forwards, in my opinion, of all time in Pavel Datsyuk and, pick his brain a little bit. And same goes for all of the young players. So in that aspect, I definitely think he still could be very valuable to the team if it is just like a 1 year thing. I don't really want us to bring him back and, sign him to like a Kovalchuk deal, but obviously he is 40 years old, and I think Steve Yzerman is a lot smarter than that. But coming back for 1 year, I think it would be pretty sick. I'd be nostalgic about it. I'll never really get tired of seeing Pavel Datsyuk. I still think he's going to be very valuable on the power play if he does return. He's a great setup man. He has an amazing set of hands. I definitely think he would still thrive in that aspect of the game. And then, play maybe a third line role and still be responsible in the defensive zone. So hopefully for Pavel Datsyuk, if he does want this to happen, then, hopefully for him it does, and hopefully he can hit 1,000 games played, because I think that is a milestone that when you're that close, you should definitely, thrive to try to go for and, make it work. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Yzerman and Datsyuk can work something out, a 1 year deal. Like I said multiple times in the video, I think I'd be pretty excited about it, but I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. Do you think Pavel Datsyuk would still be valuable at an NHL level to the Detroit Red Wings? And ultimately, is this something that you could see happening? If I had to guess and just kind of throw out a prediction if this is going to happen or not, I think I would just put my money on it not happening. Usually you don't see stuff like this happening, coming back for 1 year and stuff like that, but you never know. Maybe he does want to return to the NHL for his final year of professional hockey, so it's going to be very interesting to see. But, definitely thinking of a power play with like Dylan Larkin, Pavel Datsyuk, Anthony Mantha, Filip Hronek on the blue line, and then Filip Zadina playing, the point for that one-timer. It definitely gets me pretty excited, thinking about next season. So that is going to wrap up the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy, and quick shout out to Wolf Hockey, who is the maker of the Pavel Datsyuk highlights in the KHL montage that you guys saw in the background of this video. You can search up Datsyuk KHL highlights on YouTube, and I believe it's the first video that comes up. And make sure you guys let me know your thoughts on this whole situation, and if you think it's going to happen, and just your entire thoughts on the situation and how Datsyuk would actually do if he does return to the NHL. So with that being said, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.